In this video, I'm going to be breaking down my best tips, tricks, and secrets for new or even experienced Turo hosts. And so if you're someone who's wanting to operate their fleet more efficiently or effectively, this is a video that you won't want to miss. But first, I want to remind you guys that my Black Friday sale is currently going on until November 30th, and you can use the code BLACKFRIDAY275 to get $275 off the purchase of the Car Sharing Masterclass. Now, the Car Sharing Masterclass is a robust course that teaches you every single thing that you need to know about starting and scaling a car sharing fleet with the same business model that I use. We teach you how to find the right cars, how to negotiate them to get a below market value price, how to streamline your operations with automated messages, remote key exchanges, how to keep track of maintenance and repairs, how to handle LLC information, co-hosting, banking, insurance, damage claims, as well as everything in between. Not only that, but whenever you sign up for the Car Sharing Masterclass, you also get access to our Discord group and our monthly Zoom calls as well. And we are so incredibly confident that this is the best car sharing course in the market that we offer a robust 30-day money-back guarantee so that you can give it a try at no risk to you. Now, if you're interested in checking that out, again, you can use the code BLACKFRIDAY275 to get $275 off that purchase. My other course, the Car Buying Masterclass, is also on sale, and you can check that out and get a discount of $125 by using the code BLACKFRIDAY125. Both of these are linked down in the description below, and you'll want to act fast because once these sales are over, you won't see prices this good until next November. Now, whenever I was prepping to make this video, I sat down and really asked myself, what are some of the things that I've been doing with my fleet and with my business that have either made me more money, made my fleet operate more efficiently, or just made me overall more successful with it? And while some of these may feel a little bit obvious and some of them may not, that's ultimately up for you to decide. So first is maintenance. Midway through this year, my team and I decided to revamp how we track maintenance. We found that maintenance was starting to feel confusing and a bit discombobulated. So we set out on a journey to find the best fleet management software out there. I reached out to probably half a dozen different maintenance and fleet tracking services that ranged anywhere in price from $150 per month to $500 per month with a slew of features. And while many of these software solutions did offer exactly what we were looking for, they were all very expensive. And then after a bit more digging, I realized that the tracking service that I use has a pretty robust maintenance tracking feature, and I was simply not using it. Now, I track with one-step GPS, but I know Bouncy also has this feature, as do a lot of other telematic providers. Now, my trackers have the ability to track mileage, and then you can also set up custom service reminders totally built into the price that I'm already paying. I just wasn't using it. Now, the first step in setting up robust maintenance tracking within our tracking service was to make sure that all of the mileage for our vehicles was up to date. It took us a while to do this because of the fact that we don't always have cars in our possession, but after about 2-ish months, we were able to update all of our vehicles, all of their trackers with the correct mileage. And then from there, I was able to set up custom reminders and frequencies for different types of service. For example, now when something like registration is due, my husband HP and our employee Todd will get a text 30 days before it's actually due to be renewed. When an oil change is due, they'll be notified 500 miles before. I can then easily go in, modify these service notifications, I can add new ones, delete ones, and I can even update whenever the service on these vehicles has actually been performed. Now, we also separately log this service so that we have it on record and we can reference it, but we don't use the log as tracking purposes, we just use it as reference. If you use a tracking service, I highly encourage you to start implementing the practice of logging miles and setting up service reminders, and also logging service now before you have dozens of cars, because it will make your life so much easier and keep your cars on the road longer. This is a perfect example of a problem that I was really overthinking the solution for, and the solution was not only easy, but it was in my face this entire time, and I just failed to realize it. I've been really pleased with how this has been working out with our telematics provider, and I think that if you are someone who does have trackers in your vehicles and they offer this type of service and feature, I would recommend utilizing it. Next is keys. Always have doubles of every key. Always. Now, I don't recommend getting a second set of keys and then using that set of keys as a spare set of keys in case the guest loses theirs. Your second set of keys should only be used for yourself, but having the second set of keys is beneficial if a guest loses a key, because it means that you can use your second set to make a new primary set that will then go to the guest. There are actually a variety of scenarios that may happen with your Turo fleet that will result in you losing a key. For example, one that's much more common than it should be is whenever a guest doesn't return a car, that car has to be repossessed, it has to be taken by a tow truck and brought back to you. Oftentimes, whenever this happens, especially if a guest isn't being cooperative, they won't give you the key whenever the car is picked up by the tow truck, which creates a pretty big problem because it not only means that you have to have that key remade, you have to have your car relocked, but it also means that your car is now going to have a larger amount of time between when you get the car back whenever it's able to go out on its next rental. Another basic but very important reason is that guests don't follow drop-off instructions, and depending on what your drop-off instructions are, having a second key is definitely crucial. We have very very detailed drop-off instructions telling the guest, hey, when you drop off the car, put the key in the lockbox and put the lockbox back when you found it. This way, whenever it's time to check in and pick up the car, we can easily go to the vehicle, get the lockbox, put in the code, get the key, and we're on our way. But probably 2 to 3 times per month, a guest does not follow these instructions. They lock either the key, the lockbox, or both in the vehicle, and as a result, we have no way of getting in the car unless we have a spare key. Now, back whenever I first started Turo, I was in a drastically different financial situation, and I did not have spare keys for all of my cars. And whenever a guest would lock the key in the car at the point of drop-off, I would actually have to call AAA to have them come out and get the key out of the car for me. It only took a couple of times of this happening for me to realize how important it is to have spares. Now, whenever this happens, I can either just bring my spare with me or I can swing by the house to get it, and it doesn't create this big issue. On the same note, I do also keep double lock boxes as well. Okay, maybe not doubles, but I definitely have a few spare lock boxes lying around. Guests will lose lock boxes, they'll break them. I've had guests run them over with cars. There are a variety of different scenarios that have played out over the years where for whatever reason, a lockbox is returned non-functional. In these scenarios, it's great to have an extra one. That way you can simply grab a new one, put it at your vehicle, and you can just move on. We typically have anywhere between 3 and 5 lockboxes on standby, either to replace broken ones or to use for new vehicles that we buy. Keep everything in a Google Drive or something similar. I am extremely organized, and organization is probably one of my hobbies, as lame as it sounds. And as a result of this hobby, one of my crowning achievements in life is my Google Drive. I love Google Drive. I have a very robust Google Drive, which contains every business and project I'm working on with custom access for people that need it. With our Turo fleet, we have everything from trackers to VIN numbers to insurance cards in my drive that my husband HP and our team member Todd have access to. This is helpful because it not only means that we can access any document on the go, but it also means that Todd, HP, and I don't have to connect with one another to access these documents. For example, if HP goes to the DMV to renew the registration on one of our cars and he realizes he doesn't have the insurance, he doesn't have to message me to send it to him. He can just log into the drive, download it himself, and he's good to go. The Google Drive, truthfully more than any other tool, has allowed for me to get work done on the fly from anywhere without skipping a beat because I can access anything from anywhere. I strongly recommend having something like this, like a decentralized hub for all of your important work. I've talked about this next one in a number of different videos, but one thing that I think is absolutely crucial to having a profitable fleet, or at least a more profitable fleet, is having a robust network of shops. We have saved tens of thousands of dollars by having good relationships with mechanics and with shops. I get told all the time that the only reason why my fleet is successful is because we maintain our cars in-house. And while this is certainly part of our success, another huge component is the networking aspect, and this is something anyone, whether you know cars or not, can do. We have a network of shops that we work with, and these are shops that we not only have corporate accounts with, but they are shops that we've worked hard to foster good relationship with. HP will oftentimes go to these shops, bring them lunch, bring them breakfast, energy drinks, Gatorades in the summer. It's a relationship that we do put effort into, and it's also a relationship full of some give and take. And as a result of these relationships, we oftentimes get discounted rates, we get free diagnoses, our cars will sometimes get pushed ahead of other customer cars. It has saved us a ton of money and time, and it's just great to know that we have people that we can trust, because people who know they benefit from you as much as you benefit from them, they're going to be much less likely to screw you than some random shop that you take your car to once in a blue moon. And another good tip that I think feels a little obvious to me, but I've spoken to some hosts recently and it doesn't seem as though it's that obvious, and that is to check your cars sooner than later. And what I mean by that is to check in your cars and take photos whenever the car is returned, not whenever the car gets booked out. I have always made it a habit to check in and prep my cars upon a car's arrival, not upon a car's departure, meaning that rather than waiting until a car gets booked to prep it for its next rental, I prep it for its next rental as soon as it gets returned, even if a rental hasn't been booked yet. And I highly recommend this for a few reasons. First is it gives you plenty of time to catch any issues. Let's say that a car gets returned at 10 a.m. and that car isn't going out until 6 p.m. that evening, and you have time in the middle of these two rentals to go check in that car. But instead of checking it in at 10:30 a.m., you wait until 5 p.m., an hour before it's going out, and you realize the car is filthy, it's been smoked in, it has pet hair. You only have an hour in order to remedy those situations. But if you check in your car right whenever it gets returned, you are able to take a lot of time in order to prep that car and address any issues. You oftentimes don't know the condition that a car is going to be returned in, so leaving you plenty of time to address any issues, it's a good practice. But the other reason why this is a great practice to get into is because it ensures that your cars are well utilized, and this is something that I've talked about on my channel probably hundreds of times. By checking in a car at the point in which it's returned, even if that car doesn't have a future booking, you've now opened up the next 24 hours to get that car rented without you having to do any extra work. As long as you have that car cleaned and photos taken within 24 hours, someone can book your car, whether you're at the grocery store, at the movie, on a date, going out to eat, and you're able to easily facilitate that rental because you have the photos. photos. But if, let's say again, your car gets returned at 10 a.m. and you don't check it in right away, that means between the time of 10 a.m. and whenever you actually go check in the car, that car can't get booked out because you don't have photos. I strongly believe that getting into the habit of checking your cars at the point in which they're returned is a great way to ensure that you're getting as highly utilized as possible. And it really is crucial to getting the most bookings and making the most money as you possibly can. But there you guys have it, some of the best tips and tricks that I think can ultimately make a big difference to a Turo fleet, despite the fact that all of these are pretty simple. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.